Frost weapons in Pilgrimmed are either extremely boring or very unique. I feel like the weapons that represent both of these sides pretty well are the Mithril Spear and the Snow Flurry. The Mithril Spear is just an iron spear with a coat of paint over it. The main difference besides the straight upgrade in stats is the Frost element type, which just makes the heavy inflict the frost effect. Pretty boring, right? Well then. On the other side, we have a staff that not only deals unholy damage if you have the right build for it, it summons freaking tornadoes and gives the frostburn debuff. Pretty unique for this side of weapons. Although some might argue that comparing a mage weapon to a melee weapon can be pretty unfair in some scenarios because 7 out of the 8 mage weapons in the game currently are actually pretty unique and fun to use, and like a bunch of the melee weapons are just recycled and just really boring. But yeah, that's the main reason why people play mage, because all the mage weapons like in the game like play a role and aren't just like filler weapons. Even the magic branch, despite it being a very boring weapon, it also still fills the role of being the first mage weapon. So yeah, point is, mage weapons are just very unique and just should not be compared to melee weapons. So that begs the question, what melee weapon in the frost category that can be on the side as the most unique frost weapon? And that weapon is the Snowshatters. The Snowshatters are a unique subclass of weapons. This type of weapon is like the only one that really exists in the game right now, which is the fan subclass of melee weapons. Anyways, if you want to obtain the Snowshatters, you must fight the Snow Cultist in the winter with a 50% drop chance. There's really no other fan subclass weapons to compare the Snowshatters to, so I'm just going to compare it to your basic melee, your old sword. This weapon's main gimmick is that you have your basic 3-hit combo, but every hit you inflict counts as 3 hits. Also, if you move while attacking, you'll get sent forward along with damage frames between your dashes with the Snowshatters. The Heavy, on the other hand, is also pretty unique. It's a huge big spin frost AoE that deals the same amount of damage as a single 3-hit swing. Alright then, now on to the stats. The Snowshatters is a frost type melee weapon that has a base damage of 12, a base range of 7, 50% extra piercing, and 80% less knockback. Honestly, pretty strange stats for a pair of fans, but regarding the nature of this weapon, it fits pretty well. Anyways, now on to the trivia / facts section of the video. This one is pretty unknown. So, Snowshatters. You know how it drops from this funny little Snow Cultist boss, right? The Snow Cultist itself was added in the Snow Recital update, which dropped on May 2nd, 2023. Prior to the Snow Recital update, the Snowshatters used to drop from a completely different boss. In that boss was the Abdominal Snowman. Any OG player would know that getting the Snowshatters from the Snowman was actual pain. Like, I genuinely don't know why, but the Snowman was actually a pretty hard boss back then. I'm pretty sure nothing changed about it, but seriously, this boss was hard as hell back then, for some reason. Anyways, besides the boss being somewhat hard, the drop chances were around the 10 to 3% ranges, which were pretty fucking ridiculous since you either have to kill this dude like several times, or fight it with either the Mondering, Challenge Whittle, or Pirate Earrings equipped to increase those chances. Even then, this boss spawns during the night, which means that if you didn't get it in that small window of time, then okay, time to wait 25 minutes until night. Actually ridiculous, man. But still not as bad as OG Coffin weapon drop chances. Okay, now onto the builds. For the non-crit, we just have full on every single good non-crit based elemental accessory here, because, you know, non-crit build, or you could call this the Trident build, without the mummy wraps. I guess you could use mummy wraps if you want to, but I'm using Prison Crown because you usually use this build with a legendary Reforged Insignia Gem Snowshatters, and you kind of need Prison Crown to combat the Insignia Gem debuffs. Okay, now onto the crit build. This one was pretty hard to make, and have a DPS that would be easy to manage since Snowshatters is usually only good with Insignia Gem. So I tried to replicate that in an elemental build by using Freeze Flame Gauntlet as the main debuffs, and Frying Pan and Shark Tooth for crit. I literally could not come up with anything else besides some random Sandpot antenna build, but it has like less DPS than this one. I mean, you could go with something else if you want to, but if you're unsure, then you can go with this monstrosity, I guess. Alright, now onto the bosses. As per usual, we'll have our Punching Bags, Old Fart, and Kata to test our DPS. So the order of these fights will be the non-crit build for Kata and the crit build for Old Fart. So starting off, we have the non-crit build for Kata. I don't really have anything to comment about the build, besides it's just very good and efficient. So yeah, let's play out. Next, we have the crit build for Old Fart. I think because of the nature of this weapon, crit builds feel a little inconsistent and harder to make, which is probably why I feel a little bit disappointed in what I made. But it's something at least. Okay, final thoughts. The Snowshatters is probably one of the most fun weapons in the game currently. I know I always say that for a bunch of weapons, especially the previous two, which were Grave Tree and Coffin Hilt, but would you blame me? I'm trying to knock off the rest of the weapons, and I'm trying to knock off the rest of the weapons I find pretty unique and fun, and then move on to the lesser melees. Anyways, my thoughts of this weapon can be summed up in a single sentence. It's currently its own type of melee weapon, so it's bound to be unique and fun. I give the Snowshatters a 8 out of 10 in the obtainment category because the Snow Cultist is such a cool boss in my opinion, and I'm not sure if it's just me, but the Snow Cultist attacks are just so fun to read and parry, and it's so fucking satisfying in a way. Anyways, making the weapon a 50% is just bliss. As much as I like fighting this boss, it's just bound to get boring eventually, so I'm thankful that they made it a 50% drop chance instead of some fight until you die of heart disease type drop chances. Abdominal snowman. Anyways, I guess the reason why, besides that, mostly because the winter is just not fun to navigate and very badly designed. Anyways, I give it a 10 out of 10 for just the weapon itself since, as said earlier, the Snowshatters are just unique even without the gimmicks and all. We've never had a weapon in this game that is just its own subtype as well as it's functionally and being fundamentally different from all the other melees in the game. I give it a 9 out of 10 for gimmick because the weapon being a single 3-hit melee, having a sick-ass AoE spin heavy, and give frost at the same time is pretty fucking cool if you ask me. Also, the movement gimmick on the Snowshatters M1 is pretty fun and cool, but it's kind of annoying to control and can screw you over if not used carefully. Overall, this weapon is a good 9 out of 10, but yeah. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Check out my other stuff if you haven't yet. And with that, this is the end of the video. Have a good day or night, whatever time it is for you. And we'll see you fellers next time. Goodbye.